The good news does not stop today. First, it was Rod Ferguson, fired from Diablo 4, and now Bungie is dead, finally dissolved and being taken over by Sony. And this is a good thing. If you are a Destiny fan, you should feel happy, because Bungie is a bunch of idiots who can't do anything right, and they have not been able to do anything right for the past I don't know how many years. The greatest thing Bungie has ever unironically achieved is making people believe that it was Activision Blizzard's fault that Destiny was in a bad state. Now, Bungie's just a bunch of folk losers who ruin everything, and they get what they deserve.
Bungie set to be fully absorbed by PlayStation after Destiny 2 and Marathon missed the mark. I can't say I didn't see this coming, truthfully. I've been covering Bungie and Marathon news for the past few months.
We all saw it coming. We all hoped, okay? Listen, the fact that they wanted to make enough money with goddamn the fact that Bungie unironically wanted to make enough money with Destiny, a game that literally tells their new players, "Please delete me. I am the worst experience ever," that offers people an incomplete story experience and sunsets. Well, pretty much the thing that they are probably currently doing right now. That's how bad the sunsetting situation is. It's like, did anyone honestly think that they're gonna succeed? Hell no. And Marathon is just a bunch of stolen assets cobbled together in a ridiculously woke way, yet again. Keep in mind, Bungie never left the woke. Why do you think that the grand evil of the Destiny universe has a fucking unibrow?
And after Sony
And looks like a new male? Because it's Bungie.
paid $3.6 billion for the original Halo creators, they've seen nothing in terms of a return on their investment. Destiny 2 is over time losing steam and player base. That's not to say people aren't fans of the franchise anymore. They want a Destiny 3, the next chapter in the franchise. Many people think
people just want a non-shit game for once in their lives, that's it.
Destiny 2 has run its course. Quick side note, I'm testing Destiny 2 for the first time in a long time for an upcoming video. That is going to be interesting. Marathon, on the other hand, Bungie's new title, was announced to be delayed indefinitely. The tentative release date
because Marathon is a disaster, everyone knows it.
for Marathon is end of fiscal year 2025, which is the end of March 2026. Even Marathon, as you guys have no doubt heard by now, that's had its fair share of drama. Stolen art, developers not being listened to, executives making broad sweeping decisions that hurt their games overall. It's been negative after negative after negative, and Sony has had enough. From the research that I always do, and I've been constantly doing videos as this situation has evolved over the years, this started back in 2024. Sony acquires Bungie and shrunk the studio from 1,300 employees down to 850. This was followed by another 220 roles being removed from the studio, and with
all while the CEO of Bungie is there talking to people at the water cooler and saying, "Hey, person who maybe is gonna get fired tomorrow," but ignore that. Do you want to see my multi-million-dollar extensive luxury car collection? I am not a shallow person. Oh my god. The funny stuff at Bungie just never ends, does it?
that round, 150 of those roles moved to Sony directly. This to me was the first consolidation of Bungie being absorbed into Sony completely. The only glimmer of positive news I have with that round of layoffs was that the ex-Halo music creator and Destiny 2, Michael Salvatore, he was hired back after being laid off last year. I don't know what Bungie was thinking, firing a man as talented as that.
Yeah, I'm sure the music is gonna save Destiny. I'm sure. I'm so sure, boys. Any moment now. Any moment.
Veteran of the industry with a stellar portfolio. They actually had the audacity to fire him without any notice. Truthfully, I'm surprised he even came back after how they treated him. I really hope he demanded a substantial wage increase to make up for being fired. To give extra context to that, by the way, back in 2024, Bungie executives and leadership were laying off staff specifically so that when stock the employees had in the company matured, so Bungie stock itself, when it was actually going to be worth something, and if an employee left with that stock matured, Bungie would have to pay them out. They didn't want to do that. They wanted to keep the money for themselves, so they fired their staff. They weren't even given a courtesy letter. They just tried to log in one day and found their email access revoked. Fast forward to this year, and
I mean, people constantly talk about, oh, I came once to my job and then I couldn't log in into my thing. Yes, because you got fired. People are acting like that's not normal. That is normal. What are you gonna do? Let the person who has access to all your shit and can destroy things, can be spiteful, can start doing God knows who just got fired, allow access to their stuff? No! No! Obviously not. You remove their access. That's how it works.
I've always said that Bungie will probably never be the same again. I have quite a few friends who work over at the studio, and the sentiment has been shaky at best for the last 6 months. For many developers at the studio, there's not much they can do personally to help the situation, as it's outside their job description. They're assigned tasks, they complete said tasks, and I understand as a day-to-day developer, it's difficult and hard to speak up, as you could lose your job. Losing a job in America is especially bad, as it can also mean you lose your health insurance. It is up to management to steer the ship, and it's clear they haven't done that for a long time. The big headline today is
Management has steered the ship. Anyone who tells me anything like this is just fundamentally not understanding what management, HR, and all of these systems are designed to do. They are designed to protect the company, not you. Your ass is replaceable, expendable, not worth the salary you are given, and absolutely ignorable. That's the reality of world, sunshine. It has never actually been different. I don't know why you decided that, hey, we're a big giant family here, but we're not. And every part of the system is designed to just make it easy for the people on top. Obviously.
Bungie is to be integrated into PlayStation Studios after Destiny 2 and Marathon underperformed. Bungie is set to lose its independent status and become fully integrated into PlayStation Studios following the underwhelming performances from Destiny 2 and the upcoming Marathon. Bungie wanting to be independent was the very reason as to why they left Halo and Microsoft to start Destiny. Bungie wanted to be free, to not be dictated into being the Halo studio. After making the agreement to make
Yeah, and then people changed, people went away, and a bunch of folk losers got hired, and now we're here, and no one cares that Bungie is dead. Oh, seriously, like, if you care that Bungie's dying, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I have nothing bad to say about it. You just care about it. It is what it is. But, like, leave in the comments section if you actually care about Bungie dying. Like, who really cares at this point? Are there any fans left?
Halo 3, Reach, and ODST, they could move on and have their independence. It is now being taken away due to the horrible decisions by the executives made over the last 2 years. The most notable example of the most horrible thing Pete Parsons, Bungie CEO, has done was back in 2023. He said that layoffs were partially due to the quality miss of the Destiny 2 DLC, Lightfall, but then extra information came out that showed executives purposely tanked the DLC. The exact quote read, "Leadership wanted it to fail." Can you imagine how pathetic of a person you have to be to
Bro, leadership did not give a shit about that. Ah, this is so stupid. this is so stupid. Okay? Leadership probably did not give a shit if Lightfall fails or not. Lightfall failed because it was literally a giant romance novel about like a couple of gay dudes. That was Lightfall. No one liked Lightfall.
purposely tank your own company's major DLC? This isn't just a video game in this situation. These are people's jobs and livelihood. It was horrible. It's yet another case of executives being out of touch with massive egos, thinking they know better than everyone else, when in actuality the developers, the players, and their audience are screaming at them to change before it's too late. Now it is, and I hope Sony absolutely axes the delusional leadership at the studio. Do what Microsoft did with 343 Industries and wipe the slate clean, as it's clear the leadership at Bungie don't have the players' best
Is 343 now good? No, it's still a disaster. It's still shit. It's still underperforming.
interests at heart. Hell, they don't even have their employees' best interests at heart. Need I remind anyone that Pete Parsons, the CEO,
No large company has their employees' best interests at heart.
spent millions on cars every year while developers got the axe. To give more context to the news today as to why Sony is taking away Bungie's independence, it's that back in 2022, Sony acquired Bungie for $3.6 billion. The agreement itself allowed the developer to operate independently, provided profitability targets were met. As you can no doubt tell, these targets were not met at all. The PlayStation CEO said directly,
which was exactly what Sony did, okay? Sony's not acquiring a company and not taking over. Okay, the fundamental main reason why you ever buy a company is because you think you can do better. You think that it's not maximizing its profits. You think that they are mishandling something that could be potentially a lot of money. You do not buy Bungie for 3.6 billion and then be like, okay, Bungie, keep being trash, keep doing whatever you're doing. No. No. That's not how life works, sadly.
today, Bungie's independence is getting lighter, and the studio is shifting into a role where it's becoming more a part of PlayStation Studios. Integration is proceeding. I paraphrase as English is their second language, but you get the general idea. The PlayStation CEO went on to say, in the long term, you can see this as an ongoing process. So the direction is to become part of PlayStation Studios. Bungie will continue to exist as a studio, but it will operate as a first-party developer, creating titles for Sony's core audience. This is a massive, monumental day for Bungie as a studio, as if things continue to go the way they're going, the entire studio could be dissolved completely after Marathon's release. The line that says, in the long term, you can see this as an ongoing process, so the direction is to become part of PlayStation Studios. I know by no means is it even close to the old classic Halo Bungie, but it still makes me sad in a way. Speaking of Marathon, by the way, the release, the CEO also said they're on track to release it, things haven't changed, and the game will be going ahead. Marathon is being tested right now as we speak, but I have no idea what changes have been made, and I can only hope the players and the broader gaming audience have been listened to. It will forever be crazy to me that Marathon has a rich history of lore, backstory, and already existing strong narrative elements. Add on that Bungie always used to do amazing campaign and multiplayer titles, and then you come up with an extraction shooter that feels clunky, slow, and the story of that even hasn't been written yet. I mean, come on. The Sony CEO also stated that the performance of Concord, which lost hundreds of millions of dollars, definitely factored into decision making. I'd say Sony and PlayStation are worried that Marathon will be another such case. It very well might be, even if every perfect change is made to
Oh, it's dead. Marathon is so dead it's not even fun. Well, actually, it's hilarious in my honest opinion. Marathon being dead is good.
Marathon, there's no guarantee the game will succeed. So many bridges have already been burnt that I genuinely don't know if there's anything that can be done to save it. My guess is a Splitgate style scenario, an initial population at launch, and then it tapers off over time. The only thing that may save the game is that it has the Bungie name. What Sony said directly about Marathon as a whole is that it will probably launch some point before April 2026, although that's not a commitment. If you were curious as to when Bungie is going to show off more new things for Marathon, it'll be
Oh god, I would not be surprised if they completely axed Marathon. By the way, Marathon was officially, I think, what Sony wanted to do to save themselves. Not Sony, but Bungie wanted to do to save themselves from Sony. Yeah, needless to say, that's not happening. The final shape was a disaster. People say, oh, the final shape's good. I don't even honestly believe that because final shape, at the end, I think it's still undersold Lightfall. Because the reality is, you can't fail after fail after fail after fail and then expect people to come back. It's not happening. People are just fucking done. Because every old player that left Destiny and then heard that Lightfall was not Lightfall, but what's the last expansion called? End something, whatever. The last expansion. Every person who played Destiny knew if they want to play the final shape one again because it's good, they still need to spend like $200 on all the expansions that they had already lost. So there's no such thing as playing the final shape. it's just not happening.
In autumn for Americans, so spring for those of you in the southern hemisphere. The final thing that the Sony CEO said was that if this launch is cancelled, so if Marathon does get cancelled and doesn't come out, we would need to do a revision of the valuation of Bungie. However, as of now, this is not expected. And that's it. What a day. Bungie has lost its independence. A day I saw coming after the recent history.
Oh, man, I love that. Well, the end of Bungie. That is an absolute 10 out of 10. I love the fact that Bungie gets what it deserves. Min Blitz, bye.